Hello students, welcome back to your online classes. Today I will be continuing with the story with the poem The Ant and the Cricket. This will be the second session with you. Before beginning, let us recapitulate a little bit. This is a story this is a poem which has been adapted from the Aesop's fable, and this contains a very significant moral, that is, people who are lazy, who do not think about their future, often find themselves at a loss in times of hardship. And people who are like the ant, who are organized and planned in their life, who think about the hard times in their life, they do not face any problems in leading their life. So we will understand the two contrasting ways of life, and the ant and the cricket signifies these two contrasting ideas. Okay, these two insects. Let us continue with the poem. So, the context was that the cricket has been singing all through the gay summer months without thinking about the tough winter times, the tough winter months when it will be difficult for him to get any morsel of food. So instead of finding time for storing the food, he uses all his time by lazing around and foolishly singing. Okay, enjoying the warm summer instead of thinking about the difficult winter. So as a result, what happens? When winter comes, the cricket finds himself at a loss of food. So he does not get anything to eat. Okay, so he is starving. He is suffering a lot due to lack of food. Okay. Then he decides to do something. He decides to go to the miserly ant and ask for some charity, ask for some food from him. At last, and by starvation and famine made bold, all dripping with wet. Dripping means somebody who is very wet. He is very much wet because of the snowfall which is happening outside. So he is dripping with wet and all trembling with cold. So the cricket is in a very dismal situation. Away he set off to a miserly ant. The cricket knew that the ant is a miser. Miserly, the word has come to signify people who are misers. Miser means stingy people, those who are tight-fisted, those who are not generous with what they have. They do not like to share anything with other people. So the word miserly has a negative connotation, but in this context, as we will find out in the poem, that it's better to be a miser than be a silly cricket. Okay, so he goes off to the miserly ant in order to ask for some food, to see if, to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain. That is, even the shelter he has not constructed for himself. So he needs a shelter from the rain, from the winter month. In the winter month, he needs some shelter because he cannot laze around in the sun by sitting in the grass or any leaf. Okay, so he needs a shelter as well as food as he is suffering, and a mouthful of grain. So the two things which he requires from the ant are, number one, shelter from the rain, number two, some food, okay, some grain of food. He wished only to borrow, he would repay it tomorrow. So in this also there is a joke being made, that is, the cricket does not have anything to give back to the ant. So in order to make the ant understand that he would be taking it just like a borrowing, okay, he will just be borrowing it from him, and he would probably be falsely promising him that I will repay it back to you tomorrow, which is also a false promise because we already know that the cricket is a lazy character. He does not have sufficient active mind or the organized way of life for earning for himself, for storing food for himself. Okay. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. That is, if he does not get the help from the ant, what will happen to him? He will have to die of starvation and sorrow. What is the meaning of starvation? Starvation means suffering caused by lack of food. Okay, suffering caused by lack of food. And sorrow as well. Sorrow for his difficult situation. Now he goes to the miserly ant to get some help. What are the help which he requires? The first help is he needs a shelter to live, and the second help is that he needs some food in order to survive. Now let's find out how the ant reacts to or responds to the request of the cricket. Says the ant to the cricket, "I am your servant and friend." Yes, but we ants never borrow, we ants never lend. So when the cricket asks the ant that please give me some food and please let me stay in your shelter during the winter months, because I do not have a shelter, I do not have a food, and I promise to you that I will be giving you back whatever you lend me. Okay, then the ant starts by saying that I am your servant and your friend. So this is like a tactical way of putting somebody down. Before you put somebody down, put somebody's request off by telling them no. How do you do it? You sugarcoat it like the ant is doing. Okay, sugarcoating the bitter truth that he is not going to get any shelter from him. He is not going to get any morsel of food from him. Okay, so this is how the ant responds. I'm your servant and your friend, but we ants never borrow, we ants never lend. This is our policy. This is the line which we follow. We do not borrow anything, we do not lend anything. Okay, whatever we earn it for ourselves. Whatever work we do it for ourselves. We do not take help of anybody else, and we do not provide help or any food to other people. But tell me, dear cricket, did you lay nothing by when the weather was warm? So, did you lay nothing by? Did you lay means, didn't you store anything for yourself when the weather was warm? That is during the summer months when it was so gay all around. When the weather was not so difficult, didn't you keep any food for yourself? Quoth the cricket, not I. Quoth means said. Okay, it's an old English. Quoth the cricket means said the cricket, not I. No, I did not store any food for myself. My heart was so light that I sang day and night, for all nature looked gay. So I was such a person that I was so much influenced by the beauty of nature, by the comfort of the weather, by the availability of food all around me, that I forgot about the difficult life which is coming very soon. Okay, so I was just singing and dancing during the summer month. I spent all my time doing that. I did not think about the future. I did not store any food. My heart was light and I was happy, and I just sang day and night. You sang, sir, you say. Go then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. So this is a sarcastic way in which the ant is telling the cricket that, oh, you didn't store any food. You just sang and you danced, you are saying. Fine, why don't you sing and dance the winter away as well? If you are so much adept at singing and dancing in life, then why don't you do the same thing right now? Here, singing and dancing, by that he wants to say that just lazing around without doing any activity. Okay. So dance the winter away. That is, you even dance during the winter month and the winter will go away. You don't have to worry. You don't need any food since you wasted your time by doing singing and dancing. Then you can do the same thing right now. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. Okay, so he hastily lifted the wicket. There was a wicket stump or stick which was kept in the ant's house, and he lifted the wicket and then he turned the poor little cricket out of his house. Okay, that is, he asked him to leave. by showing him the stick, probably hitting him with the wicket. Folks call this a fable. I'll warrant it true. That is, folks means people. People call it a fable, that this is just a story. This is just a story which has been made for fun. But I will warrant it true. The poet says that I justify that this is a true. Some crickets have 4 legs and some have 2. That is, some crickets who are very lazy, who do not do any work, they have 2 legs because probably their legs have been put into position by an ant. 2 legs have been removed probably. And some crickets have 4 legs. Okay, there is some crickets who understand the reality of life, probably they have 4 legs. Now, some have 2. Okay, so this is a funny way of ending the poem. This is a fun poem, but this is also a very important poem because it contains an important message. It contains the message that people who are very lazy, who do not work, during times of hardship, they fail in their life. They become extremely desolate, they become extremely disappointed in themselves, they become hopeless because they have not thought about the future, they have not planned for the future sufficiently, and so they find themselves at a loss in times of hardship. Just like the cricket. And people whose character is just like the ant, they face life boldly, with confidence. They are organized people, they have planned for their future, they know how to face times of need, times of hardship. And so, according to the poem, we can understand that it's better to be a miserly ant than being a silly young cricket. So this is the end of today's session. In my next session, I will be giving you the question answers as well as the word meanings which are not presented in the poem. Okay, thank you.